Good evenings, ladies and gentlemen. We are here live in the Fremont Palace, home of Game 1 of the FBA Finals. Joining me in the booth tonight is Matt Lewis. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing, Ryan?
Doing excellent. We have finally whittled down the 24 teams that started the season down to two, the Las Vegas Wildcards and the Bangor Tides. One of these two teams will be walking away with a championship at the end of this series.
Have we seen a lot this playoff season? Fairly rare that, fairly common actually, that both number one seeds fall out. Uh, but you traditionally see at least one of them get through. But we didn't have that this year. And in fact, we didn't have either of the number two seeds to get through. So this is a fairly unique year in that regard. But both of these teams fought tooth and claw to be here, and I can't wait to see what they can prove themselves. Uh, and of course, one of the things we'll be talking about, or at least that I want to talk about this evening, is that I think for both of these franchises, they're looking for their first overall championship.
Well,
Sorry, Bangor won in 2019.
it hasn't
Got
been
it
that
wrong
long
already.
ago.
But they are back 5 years later, 4 years later, 4.5 years later to secure a title, number two.
Yes, well, LVG making their first finals appearance is exciting for them, and they get to start the series at home as the fourth overall seed in the West. Bangor technically having the better record, but finishing fifth overall in the standings for the East due to not winning their division and having to fall behind the Lorraine Firestorm, stealing the fourth seed away from them by winning their division
Mm-hmm.
with a worse record.
And you know what? I don't mind being in Vegas first. It's hot outside, but it's nice and cool in here. They got the air conditioning running, and my fur feels great right now.
When we go to Bangor, it'll be a bit of a change up. I mean, the sun's finally starting to heat up a little bit up there, but it is thankfully not as far as we've had before in the past, where we had speaking of the Bangor last championship, that was between them and Hawaii, which was a heck of a travel. I could say even as a commentator, it was a absolute hell going from coast to the Hawaiian Islands.
Well, that's the nature of West versus East Conference.
Not that far. That was the farthest we could possibly have gone, and
well,
we made it work.
well, we've got Warren Doyle, previous Kahuna, here tonight on the Vegas Wildcards roster. We can talk to him about it later this evening and see how he feels about what it is a reappearance for him in the finals.
Yes, and speaking of, I think the players are heading to the court, so let's jump out and down live.
All right, let's get this final started.
Yes, and it will be the Bangor Tides coming away with the tip-off victory. And an interesting thing looking at their rosters, we have two rookies starting at center here tonight as Bangor strikes first.
Yes. We've got basically the centers for both teams brand new to this league, and in their first year, they're starting on the lineups pretty frequently and making waves. That being Angel Kamalo, and Brandon Baylor.
And I will say, technically, I think Brandon is starting at the power forward position, but, considering him and Ivy are basically the same size, I call them both centers.
Yeah, they're big enough that they can take on that role with ease, and they've shown themselves to be fairly comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, both players definitely had a good run for the Rookie of the Year contention, neither of them coming away with it, but, they have bright futures ahead of them. Drive to the basket, fouled on the way up. That is Oakley's first foul.
That was on Tyreek Murphy there.
Yes, I was going to say Tyreek defeated former team Montana to make
he
it.
Left.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he left before their championship last year, so I feel there's kind of a little bit of a motivational factor there for the Mouse to, of course, show that he can get his own championship as well. He doesn't need the Howlers.
Well, and you talk about Warren Doyle before the game started as Ash gets a bucket from mid-range. You know, made it to 2 finals appearances and fell short both times. Back in a third one here. In terms of experience, you know, what kind of pressure is on a player like that having a third opportunity, and you know what happens if he walks away without getting a ring again?
Well, I will say that the team beat Montana. They were the ones to play them, and they won the series. So it was a big deal for the Wildcards to get past that hurdle, because the previous season they did not. They lost that series, and of course Montana ended up winning the whole shebang. So they're on their own kind of destiny trail right now, and this is the final stage, and they get to open the series here on their home court. That's a huge advantage as well. I just see nothing but confidence from the leading 5 for their team.
Yeah, and I mean, they had to take down both the number 1 and the number 2 team to make it here to the finals. And not saying Bangor had it easy, as Robbins gets the second chance opportunity and dunks it down. You know, Bangor also had to go through the number 1 seed to make it here. And, you know, obviously they faced Tallahassee instead of the Taproots, the number 3 seed. So both teams had to fight through some of the best in their conferences to make it here. And, I mean, I didn't ask you before the game, but, you know, which way are you leaning between the 2 teams?
Alaska.
Alaska is not in the playoffs anymore, Matt.
Oh. It was a joke. You know, that's who I was rooting for in the off chance that, you know, we saw just the rise of the Arctics. No, my you know, it's hard to choose. I don't want to be one of those commentators who doesn't want to be doesn't want to call himself out on national television. But, you know, it would be nice to see the Wildcards get their first championship. They've been in the league as a franchise for over a decade now. We've seen a lot of changes up front. And finally, in the last couple years, it seems like they've gotten things situated to be successful. And that's proven itself in this off season. So, you know, if you held me down and begged me to choose,
well,
I guess that's where I'm leaning.
You heard it here first, folks. Matt Lewis, hot
Yeah.
take. LVG in 4, sweeping Bangor Tides.
Well, it's not such a hot take. They're up by 6 at the moment.
Fair. They are at home, though, even though they have an extra possession here to potentially extend it after some back and forth missing from Bangor, but Oakley swiping the ball.
Okay. That's Kevon Oakley. He heard me from upstairs. This is a common thing amongst players. I speak something into existence, and then it manifests itself on the court.
Yeah, Oakley coming from Huntsville. You know, a lot of people were kind of questioning his ability to play a big for a role at only 6'9", but especially now matching up against a bigger polar bear, Baylor, see how he handles it here in the finals.
And they're going to be pulling a lot of tricks, I think, to get past that. Just, you know, the default height of Baylor is something that was we made a lot of waves in the draft, and as Vegas gets that shot there, you're going to have to do a little bit extra, I think, to work around that. But there is a matter of FBA experience at play there.
No doubt.
We'll see how it plays out.
And it's going to be boxing outs. My key stat I want to keep an eye on with them is Ash trying to extend it from beyond the arc. Not good there. He made one earlier. But Kevin being able to box out Baylor and keep him from pulling down too many second chance opportunities, I think will be a key stat that might determine this series. If you know Baylor's able to get multiple second chance opportunities, we could see LVG pull away. The same thing for Bangor if they can get down the paint, but ooh, big block there by Ivy. Bangor keeps possession though, calling for the screen, blocked again.
Yeah, Andrew is not he's not setting himself up for those shots.
I mean, to be fair, he got a screen, and Ivy still got the block on him. So, you know, you can't get away from the Great Dane easily with her long arms like that.
1-6 to start here for the Magpie. Uh, considering the point differential so far into this first quarter, he's got to tighten up a little bit. Maybe it's just the nerves, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, 2 of those were just blocked. So, I mean, he's really 1 of 4. Uh, I will admit the first drive to the basket was an ill-advised one against Ivy, but the second one, the fact that Ivy was able to get around the screen and get a paw on it like she was able to, that's just so tough to generate space against her like that. She's going to try and get it done on offense, not able to convert, and AMR going to bring it up.
And normally I would say, it's game 1. But I feel like that's disingenuous for the finals.
No, and I mean, looking at the player, the teams, Bangor is technically a bit fresher because LVG finished in 6th. Fresher in the sense that they are still in the game mindset. They had to fight off a game 7, whereas LVG managed to finish in 6th. They've had longer to rest, but Bangor's been in the game mindset more recently.
Yeah, and a couple of those blocks from Robbins, who just made the last shot from under the hoop. You're not going to stop the sheer size of a 7'4" Great Dane. I'm sorry.
No, you're not, especially one that agile. Oh, that's a good way to generate space. Another screen there. 7-point game still here. Bangor has kept it at least within striking distance. They haven't fallen apart yet.
No, and it's the first quarter. We're making kind of small talk here. Actually, McDonald Rainbow recovering that last basket there was a good move to get him kind of back in the game, I think. It's just the nature of the beast. You got to tame yourself as well as the fellow teammates. Get those nerves shook out at the first part of this game. And some people will come into it a little bit different than others. And it depends on how, the camaraderie of your teammates. Can you get together and make something happen despite, 1 or 2 people kind of getting into their thoughts a little bit? We'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, and that was a big block from the other big rookie in Bangor category. I felt like at the time of the draft there were a lot of questions why Bangor was snapping up 2 bigs with their first selections in this year's draft, and with how difficult it is to find talent at the big for position to give immediate impact, the fact that they found 2 that have been giving immediate impact, 1 coming off the bench, 1 starting, I tip my hat to Bangor in finding both of them.
They made a concerted effort with just the changes that they had up front in the office. They had a goal in mind and set forth on it. And, you stop questioning the decisions when you end up with the ability to take your team to the promised land, so to speak. So Bangor is here again 5 short years later in the finals. And a lot happened in those 5 years. Of course, that was Lance Wildfire's team, and he had retired essentially after that series. So for this team to pick itself up and get back here with almost a brand new roster is nothing short of incredible.
Oh, I mean, it is pretty much. I don't think there's a single player left from that playoff run. There is not, looking at the roster
Exactly.
that I see. I remember, Lance did finish another year, got to be with Ash Van Zant through his rookie year. Not able to run it back after Leon left the team, but obviously you talk about Randy Mackenbach retiring, Tiater ending up on the Baltimore Spirits. You've got drive to the basket, good there. Sorry, I'm just running through all my players through the memory bank going through.
Oh, it's all good. Bangor has been cleaning up in the last couple minutes. They let that one get away, though, from them, so it's still about a 6-point difference. But a long shot from King.
Oh, and that's another interesting fact is that we have a king on both teams here.
Oh yeah, the story of Naima versus Nolan.
Yep.
Two siblings. Yeah, it's not as uncommon as you think, or at least relationships wise. But typically, we've seen this before during the regular season. It's a whole different story, of course, when you have two siblings competing against each other during the finals. Only one of them is going to have a ring, and that changes the dynamic between siblings completely.
Yes, as LVG's good on both, and yes, I just confirmed looking at the 2019 roster, got handed the paper. The other player I was trying to think of was Desdemona Iverson and Raul Cadane. Desdemona now in Pittsburgh, Raul retired. Pretty much everyone from Bangor is retired except for Gary Elsnor, Eric Skonis-Katu, Purodoris, Leon, and Tia. Everyone else is out of the league at this point. And Desdemona,
and then you have stories too where, for example, Ivan Divakovic left for a year to go to Pittsburgh and then came back because the new management decided, hold up, if he's available again, we never really wanted to see him go. And there's been decisions like that as well that show a different mentality has taken hold on the Tides. As the phrase goes, the tides shift, and
sometimes they wash you away. Sometimes they bring you a treasure chest.
Absolutely. Well, I would hope for the treasure chest. Actually, I'll just take the money and go.
I don't blame you. As LVG back up to 6, a chance to get to 7 here with another free throw opportunity.
Matthew Dupuis coming in off the bench.
And King joining as well.
Yes,
on the
that's
floor.
Nolan.
Thankfully, they're on this opposite team, so I don't have to worry about, trying to understand which one's which in the heat of the moment. As Fullerton able to get his own miss and put it back.
Fullerton pretty heavily involved in this first quarter, actually.
Very much so. Like I said, back within 4 now, and only about 2 possessions left, even though Helen not able to get the bucket to fall. It traveled the whole way around the rim before dribbling out.
Sorry, I saw my life flash before my eyes as that thing held up there.
I mean, sometimes you have to wonder, like, if someone just jumped up and breathed on it, would it fall in? Would you call that goal interference? Shot clock almost tied, and they're going to call a shot clock violation there, even though it was good. Missed chance
he's frustrated.
There. Oh, very much so, considering he made that shot, but he let the time just run out on it, and no time for LVG to answer with a full court heave themselves with that. We end the first quarter with the wild cards up here early.
Yeah, they're at home court, as you said, so they're going to come in and make a statement in this first quarter. I think they held them to a respectable amount of points. They need to keep that energy up because, the Tide started to claw a little bit of it away. And we saw a few mistakes there at the end of the quarter that we need to not, obviously have take place.
Yeah, I think it was Vegas's defense down the post. We saw some highlights there. Baylor and Ivy both getting big blocks. It's a quick dish down to Connor, able to lay it up and in off the glass for a quick basket there. And so looking at Bangor's bench versus LVG's bench, does one of them stand out more to you?
I think there's a story to be said about several of these guys and gals, I should also mention. Right now, the story, as we mentioned, the King siblings playing against each other, I think Felicia Category has something to prove.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, you have to imagine. Oh, ball nearly lost there for Bangor. But like I said earlier, the fact that, she was the second picked up player from the draft, as we'll see, Baylor, second foul of the game.
Yeah, she's the other big, as you mentioned. Fairly surprising that they went with bigs in the draft. But her, place on the team, I think she knows that she was the second big picked up. I think there's a sense of necessity for her to prove her place on the team. She's been given a lot of space to work herself up the bench, and we'll see how she performs tonight. I think she's got the most space to come out, with a fiery attitude or fade to the background. We haven't seen much of her yet, but I'm going to be keeping my eyes peeled.
I mean, she had that big, wide-open three earlier, which surprised me, her willing to try and stretch her range. And you're right, the fact that she was the second pick, but not only that, Bangor then went out in free agency and signed Oakley to start him instead of her. So not only did they draft two centers, they also picked one up in free agency. Oakley as a center definitely is not what I would call my ideal starting center, but definitely being able to play the power forward position. We saw what looked like a starting position for category disappear in free agency very quickly. So I think you're right. Category has the biggest thing to prove here, if not to Bangor, but to the rest of the league, as another shot clock violation, this time for LVG, comes in.
Maybe the clock is running too fast. Maybe we need to get the intern on that.
Perhaps it's actually some jet lag with these players. Honestly, everyone has an internal clock when it comes to the shot clock, and that's kind of why you hear the beep to warn players hey, this is your warning. And huge open lane for the dunk there.
No one was going to stop that from happening.
I mean, you cannot give anyone that much of a free lane at the basket, let alone AMR.
In the finals.
Well, AMR, having made the dunk contest before, knows how to show off a little bit. And Ash gets his own lane to the basket on a quick pass, and we are tied here off a quick back-to-back basket from Bangor.
Yeah, and then there's the story of Van Zant, kind of the overall rep of, at least, I believe he's the team captain, right?
I believe so, but I want to point out that is the second illegal screen that Baylor just got called for, as another turnover there, and
oh man,
you see he's not happy.
Well, a lot of responsibility on his paws as well. This is not the first Baylor that we've seen in a finals.
Is it?
But
I feel like it is.
You think so? Am I going to be challenged by that?
I am trying to remember when Alaska last ever made the finals.
Well, we'll send the intern out for that instead of the clock issue that you mentioned.
the clock issue you have created.
I'm just here having a good time, Ryan. I don't know what you do in your off time.
Off? You're getting paid right now.
Wait, what?
No, never mind. Back to the game. Bangor find themselves with a lead here.
Sure, they do. And that should be a little bit concerning to the Wildcards, right? They have had the lead. Well, now they have the lead back again, thanks to that quick two. But it was a little bit of shuffling there to make that happen. Even from the back paw there, Oakley takes the lead back, and this is going to get really hot really fast in terms of speed, I think.
Yeah, and Robbins not able to convert, but she's able to get her own miss. Second chance opportunity, no good, and that's where if LVG starts nailing those, they're going to be in trouble. It's Category on the fast break. They can lay it up and in. 13-4 run in the last 3 minutes. I would not. LVG probably needs to call a timeout here.
Yeah, Robbins starting to slow down, I think.
Well,
And
it's hard on their bodies to get up and down the court like this, especially. I mean, I would say LVG's got the bigger bodies, but that's going to hurt them in a back and forth sprint down the court. Even though Robbins, again, not being boxed out, able to get that second chance bucket.
well, working so hard to get that in the box is a place you don't want to get trapped into, and I think Banger is doing an interesting tactic here, trying to lure them in. To get these.
Ooh!
Oh,
Kataguri challenging the Great Dane and posterizing her off the
what
alley
did I?
oop.
What did I tell you? What did we just finish talking about a few minutes ago?
I mean, the main wolf definitely trying to step up, and LVG is not backing down. They're answering back with baskets of their own, but the crowd is silent after that dunk.
There's still plenty of game left here, but as you said, they need to take a timeout in the next couple minutes here. I think they're getting a little bit too comfortable with what Banger is doing, or they're a little bit too confident about where they can be at. Even the defense, I think, is struggling here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw Baylor get subbed out after the second illegal screen to kind of get him to reset mentally. And you would imagine the starters would start coming back on the floor right about now anyways, with a little under 7 minutes left to go in this quarter. But a free throw line dead ball situation will, in fact, let some substitutions come in.
Well, I think, sorry, this is an aside note, they just got a quick shot of Coach Beller there rolling her eyes. I don't think she's been enjoying the last few minutes here either.
Well, I mean, they were up by 8 at one point, I feel like, and now, okay, reach and foul on Wallstein. The veteran player, you'd expect a little bit more caution in him, but, limited minutes means she can be aggressive and not worry about foul trouble.
Yeah, well, she took responsibility for that immediately.
Oh, I mean, honestly, the quick pause is not necessarily what the Buffalo is known for.
Category here fighting for that one too, but no good. We'll give Vegas here a chance to take that lead back, I suppose.
Well, and the ball's in Doyle's hands right now, and I want to see Doyle step it up. The most experienced player on either team in terms of being in the finals. He's not the most vocal on. Oh, Kataguri, another dunk. Oh, Kataguri,
right.
12 points already. A fourth of the team's points have come through. The bench rookie. And finally, LVG will call timeout.
Somewhere far away in a foreign country called Brazil, they are having the time of their life watching Kataguri make a name for herself on this first game and this first route of the second. Really of the game where I don't know where we're at now, but it's probably like a 20-6 or 8 run.
It feels like it. I mean, I think it actually might be a little bit closer to that, like 20-12 at this point, because LVG did start at least making some baskets there as they kept it within 3, even though now, and a chance for Bangor. King bringing up the court. Letting isolation play through Kataguri. That's who has the hot paw, but no. Ash, off the double screen, top of the key, able to convert. And Bangor is starting to run away with it.
The intern has come back to softly remind me that the Arctics have not, in fact, won any championships. It was all in my head.
Or I think they haven't even made the finals yet. I think between LVG and Alaska, it was one of the two teams would finally make a finals appearance, and neither of them, obviously one of them didn't. And the one year that Marcus was in Pittsburgh, they did not make the finals, so that was their only chance of a finals appearance.
Right, and Bobby Baylor was in Seattle for a year.
True.
But that was after, the Vicky Turner's era. So, in that regard, I apologize to all the Arctics fans. It's been tough out here, but we're gonna get through it. Anyway,
Ash down the post, not able to convert. Look, I mean, they're going to have to fly a couple thousand miles to get you, so you're fine. We're
It's
in
gotta
Vegas.
be
They will melt before they make it here. Huge block by
true.
Category.
Oh, the defense has just been active as all get out in this first half.
Yeah, I want to look at the halftime stats. Is the under the basket double clutch
Oh,
from
okay.
King, 3 for 4 already tonight and 5 assists. So getting it done, not only from the shooting line, but from the assist, generating the space and getting the ball where it needs to go. And how does
Yeah.
Vegas respond? Is there blocked it this time by King out of bounds?
So it's Banger's bench that's doing a lot of this heavy lifting right now.
100%. And honestly, it might be a little late for some substitutions here with 3.5 minutes left to go. I think LVG's finally going to put in their entire. They're going to call timeout on top of the dead ball situation. The coach wants a word as they're down by
Well,
9 now.
right. They need to talk this out. I don't think you come into game one thinking you're going to be down by 9 at any point in the game, especially with a game so crucial as this. They need to have an answer to this bench, though. Of course, now Inari is back out on the court. We just saw that they substituted Kumalo back, so we'll see.
Yeah, and honestly, with
Sorry, Tanner Muldoon, not Kumalo, who just made that one.
A kind of a journey first, Tanner. I mean, I think there's been at least 5 teams Tanner has worn a jersey for. No, I take it back. 4 teams. This is their 4th team. They started in Winnipeg.
Muldoon is the journeyman though for the Tides. No doubt about that.
Well, I mean, you look at the Tides. This team is built off of free agents actually. For once, we talk about besides the most recent draftees, Inari coming from Queens. Oakley coming from Huntsville, and Andrew coming from Lorraine. As St. Martin in the fast break dunks it down.
Another former Howler working his magic for the Vegas Wildcards. Getting some fresh bodies out there might be what they need to get this tied up by the half.
I mean, I think if they're within a basket or two, Vegas will be happy going to the second half, as another drive to the basket from St. Martin, able to lay it up and in with the finger roll, as both teams are shooting about equal from the floor. It's just Bangor's had a few extra chances thanks to steals and second chance opportunities.
Even St. Martin waving his paws up in the air, trying to get the crowd back into this.
Needs to. And Oakley, I talked about second chance opportunity, getting another one there. 2 minutes left to go in this first half. 5-point advantage, Bangor.
Yeah, I've loved the energy change here, and it's been,
Another illegal screen against Vegas. That's their 3rd now.
very unusual.
Well, they're not getting their feet set. I'm wondering if it's a little bit of the jitters, or if perhaps they're being maybe too aggressive on these screens they're trying to throw. Is no good on the 3 from Ivan there. That was a big chance to push it up, and a quick basket. No good, but St. Martin crashing the board. Second chance is able to convert that one. 4 for 4. Perfect from the field thus far.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, that's been something we haven't seen much of, but that was because, St. Martin had a couple injuries early on in his career, and then didn't play much in the championship run for the Howlers. And following that season, or it was within that stretch of time that he got sent into free agency. So this is his biggest shot, I think, in terms of proving himself on a national stage. Another big defensive block.
Just right back to Dupree, as shot clock becoming a problem. Able to get the second chance bucket again. No defense boxing out whatsoever there. And you're right. I
Yeah.
mean, the fact that LVG has 2 former Montana players on their roster.
Now, as we mentioned, was not part of the championship team last year, but St. Martin was. So you could be one of those illustrious few that gets 2 championship rings in 2 seasons in a row.
I think River was the last one we've had do that, and almost got a third in a very short time frame, as made it back to the finals on Tennessee.
Everyone has their own little story to follow here. I think this finals run, it's going to be. Well, I'm having a great time as the last couple seconds here. Oh,
And the buzzer beater to end the half is good. I believe that pushes it back to 5 going in to halftime here, and we'll take a look at the stats shortly. But Bangor, looked a little, I don't want to call it slow to start, but I feel like the Vegas defense had their number. And then in that second quarter, things just changed.
there was a big effort at the first quarter to come up big on defense and to kind of wear out the Tides. It worked for a brief moment, but then the Tides changed up their strategy completely in the second quarter, came back strong on offense, made some trick plays, and avoided having as many mistakes as the Wildcards did to, take over this lead.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at it, you can see again the blocks factoring in for Vegas. And, Ivy already with a double-double here tonight. And I think the big concern is looking at, who's not been on the floor as much as I think we would have expected was Baylor, as he came into foul trouble thanks to those illegal screens. Up to 4 fouls by almost the beginning of the second quarter, had 4 fouls, and that's just way too many fouls to be able to play with as a rookie in this big
Right.
of a stage.
And so, the player of the moment who we were going to be watching rookie-wise, not taking the heat very well so far.
And then Category leading the way in scoring, I think, on both teams, 6 of 7, 14 total points, and 2 blocks, getting it done
Yes.
everywhere.
I said she was going to make an impact statement probably at some point in this finals. I was surprised, and I'm surprised to see that it's coming in on game 1 here. But I'm very happy to see what she does in the second half to keep that energy alive for the Tides.
Well, and I mean, we compare the two centers. Angel is much more of the big body, I'm going to bully my way past you, whereas Kataguri is much more of the finesse kind of center that we've seen start to take a hold in the league at times.
Well, here we go. It's the start of the second half here. Morrison was taking the ball up the court, and Vegas will look to get their first basket, but didn't quite make that one.
No, and Oakley down the post, able to get another one quickly back, and I still do not see Brandon on the floor. I think they're going to let him sit. Again, 4 fouls with 24 minutes left to go is a long time to go without getting 2 fouls. So I think they're going to rely on the depth of Vegas' center, which honestly isn't that deep besides St. Martin and Wallstein.
Well, St. Martin was coming in hot towards the end of the second quarter there. He could fill in at the power forward position while Robbins fills up for center. But then you have, the issue that we're starting to see where just, general energy levels start to dip after having been on the court for so long. And like you said, they don't have much depth. So at some point, they will have to bring Baylor back out, and I'm hoping he's gotten a good talking to in the last several minutes here between the halftime to kind of work himself out and come back stronger.
Doyle no good on the second chance, but Wallstein getting a second chance and third chance. No fourth chance, though, is the basket not able to fall. And, it has to say, getting subbed out so early really messes with the minute rotation. So, like you said, Robbins probably on the court a little longer than she normally would be to kind of fill for that loss of Baylor. And we'll have to see if they're able to use Wallstein enough to give Robbins, a bit of a break, and Murphy driving to the basket, fouled on the way up, will go to the line for 2.
Well, and then you have to shift to your guards to be more offensively ready. If Robbins is able to get a rebound, as in that last play there, because by the time she's passing that ball forward, you better be halfway down court and ready to get in a position, because it's going to take Robbins a while to come back after that, after the work she's doing under the hoop, to keep the Tides at bay. There's a lot of different stuff going on now when you have those types of issues with your typical lineup.
Yeah, and Bangor is definitely utilizing that fast, aggressive, attacking the basket. As you see there, a huge block from Wallstein. And sorry, no, not Wallstein. Ivy, as we do see Baylor back on the floor now.
You watch that replay. Van Zant saw for a split second there that he had a bright lane wide open. Wallstein sniffed that out and flattened the ball away completely as he was about to alley-oop it up. Good defensive play from the Wildcards.
Well, and Ash going to take it from 3, a little bit safer, I feel like, away from the Great Dane, avoiding a possible repeat. And you saw that's actually pretty much the same play they drew up. They got open, and Robbins dished the ball from Baylor for an easy dunk there.
All right. Yeah, get the crowd into it.
I mean, they need something. They have been down for a little bit now since that big run from Bangor, and AMR answering back with another basket there. Only 33% in the first half shooting-wise, so if he can find a little bit of consistency here, he could be an absolute thorn in the side of the Wildcards.
Well, and when you have those mistakes early on, the defense might get a little bit loose, and then you have a better opportunity to get wide open spaces. Van Zant here, too, taking some three-point shots early on, I think, as a game strategy, and himself being such a game manager when it comes to these types of things. He sees what's working and what's not and adjusts accordingly.
And looking at the Tides, they're starting to move more to trying to 3-ball as Ash has been getting open. He made one there, and Vegas has to keep an eye on that. They can't afford it. Oh, Baylor. That's your 5th foul, and no. I think that's the last we're going to see of the Polar Bear this quarter.
He didn't really spend much time out on the court either. I think he
was on the court for 2 minutes.
Okay.
He's gonna be well rested for game 2. I can say that because I mean, unless there's some punishment in training.
That's the kind of thing that keeps you up at night.
Very true. And a good screen, gets an open look there. Doyle converting, and again, field goal percentage is pretty equal. It's just been the extra threes, the extra free throws that have pushed Bangor ahead here.
Well, both Wallstein and Robbins have proven themselves capable of taking the weight off Baylor's shoulders. It's just a little bit maybe of a trust issue with the lineups or what they're used to. There's not enough flexibility. We'll see.
I mean, they can take the weight, but do they have the stamina to continue to play extra minutes is the question, because when we get to the fourth quarter, final few minutes of the game, if Ivy is a little gassed, she's not going to be able to get that offensive board that you might require in order to pull ahead. Is Muldoon no good on the second? 5-point game here still for Bangor.
And the Tides just traded out Oakley for categories, so watch out. You're about to get an energy boost.
Yeah, again, they're picking up the pace. I mean, and they need to be attacking right now. I agree.
It is only a 5-point game. I have to keep reminding myself that.
Well, considering how big
so
of a
much
run,
can change.
I mean, Bangor went on such a big run that you would expect. Oh, they're leading by double digits. No, they're not. It's They were down by a decent margin. Ooh, ball lost. Quick shot from
Oh,
Kataguri. Not able to convert that time.
it was Danielle Mosburn, who we haven't talked about much this evening, with really the one opportunity that I've seen her give up the ball so easily. Not great for the Tides.
Yeah, I think it got in the attempt to drive the basket. I think it bounced off someone's knee there. And ooh, battle for the ball.
And then
Kataguri
another.
lost
Oh
it.
no!
Oh, does avoid the over backcourt violation as the ball was tipped. But again, almost a big mistake there. Now the shot clock is their enemy.
Overconfidence maybe from the Tides now. Speaking up a little bit too much. Who knows?
Well, and that's the risk of, playing a high tempo game, is that speed can be your enemy just as it can be your friend. You start making more mistakes. You start pushing yourself a little. You're thinking 2 steps ahead, and you lose track of a key point. As LVG now back within 1 after the basket there.
Yeah, Kiyomi is slowing down the game here. Ooh.
No foul called on the contact as the player went to the floor, but missed shot. LVG, first chance for a lead in quite a while.
Oh.
O'Hara versus O'Hara versus Mosborn, not able to get anything between them there. That's 2 misses, both of them. And a big block! O'Hara gonna bring it up.
Mosburn's foot work needs a little more work. There was a instance earlier in the second quarter where she fell over on a rather open court space play too. So I'm struggling here in this first game.
Ooh! Pass intercepted, and I can't tell. I think a player went to the ground, diving for it. Oh, the block out of bounds.
Just bounced off a horse's head in the audience there on the.
I mean, it's like, this is like baseball, right? If the ball hits you, you can keep it.
I think so. We'll have to talk to some of the refs afterwards.
O'Hara off the inbound play, and Vegas takes the lead for the first time, and the crowd is excited to finally have something to cheer about here.
All right, Mary Catherine, I see you.
Oh, and that was a big effort play on the other end, as we saw a Bangor player go to the floor diving for the loose ball, and that actually, the block out of bounds, I thought surely would have saved the possession, but great inbound play drawn up to get O'Hara a good open look and a chance to add to it. And Baylor is back on the floor, and every time I see him through a screen, I'm worried the whistle's going to go, and we'll see him foul out. So I expect Bangor to attack him, try and get him out early. Backing out to the key. Defense chant coming out from the crowd. They're excited. They are.
Oh, hey, Mosburn, you can't.
Well, I mean, giving it to King. King off the screen, hitting a great 3, silencing the crowd despite 2 defenders being on him.
I feared the time clock there again. That's why I got quiet all of a sudden. It just seemed a lot was going on for what was essentially just regaining the lead. But here they go.
Yeah, Mosburn trying to go with a bit of an ISO play and kind of just saying, no, you know what, I don't want to risk the shot. You take it, King. But, Nolan able to get it to fall.
All right, Baylor. Didn't even recognize that until now.
And Ivan, long range shot there. And sorry, I did not mean Nolan. I meant the other King. Naima. This is the problem. You got 2. Both of them start with ends. You know what? They should trade jerseys at the end of the game. It won't matter. They both start with the same characters.
But is it one of those issues there? Another foul.
Yeah, and big substitutions for all the players getting a chance to catch their breath. And
all right, so Baylor, they're shifting over to power forward, interestingly.
Fullerton with the ball off the inbound. Back to Dupreez. Calling for the screen. Open lane in the basket off the
Okay.
screen. Great drive off the pick to get an easy lay in there as the defense not able to do anything, even help out.
I think the Jackal recognized that there was a possibility for that lane to be open there. Ooh, a lot of ball trouble here on the wild card side.
Category,
Oh!
category in the fast break gets dished the alley-oop.
All right. All right. But this is getting away from the wild cards again, Ryan.
Yeah, they need to call timeout again as King able to, do a bit of a stutter step to get by the defense as Nolan getting his second basket. But again, down by 6 now. They had just taken the lead, and suddenly they find themselves down by 2 possessions. On the other end, King, she's able to answer back against for something. There you go, 11-2 run. That
Tale
is,
of two kings.
yes. I mean, they're not one-on-one against each other. And, ooh, ball tip there. Category is just active everywhere on the floor, including the
And
foul.
it's so rare for Wallstein to just kind of drop it like that.
Again, Category is one of those players that has that speed that we're not necessarily always used to at the big position. So, Wallstein's used to playing against players, like Baylor, like Turner, like DQ, and then you get a player with quick active pause that can match you height-wise. You have to use your body and bully them more. Good on both. Good on the free throws. Still a 6-point game here. Baylor doesn't go for the block, but the defense is enough there, getting the rebound.
Yeah, I think a little bit of luck there in that he didn't need to. It was a split-second decision there, but didn't need to put himself at risk, but managed to get the rebound. And now, getting his team within 4.
Yeah, on the other end, getting a second chance opportunity is, and I agree. The risk of going for the block there. I mean, you can't let the opponents get in your head. The second you start you're second guessing yourself and your decision, is you've lost the game. So Baylor needs to be still aggressive on defense. He can't. Fouling out is better than letting the other team score baskets just so you can stay on the floor.
Well, I would say he's survived the third quarter here. He can choose his own destiny in the next quarter, and
don't say that yet. There's still a chance here. Oh, okay. No, he does not foul out on the last possession of the third quarter. But Bangor, we're up by 5 to start, and now up by 4. So Vegas has managed to cling back 1 point.
They just replayed the horse getting bonked.
Hey, look, it's the kiss cam, okay? Basketball meat face.
Okay, well, they're shifting to assist of the game here, and that was a beautiful one, I believe, from the Tides.
I mean, it was the alley-oop in the fast break to Category, which, again, Category, the fact that, Angel hasn't had to do too much here tonight, Category's just stepped up, and that is a nightmare to game plan against, because you come in expecting, okay, we need to figure out how we're going to shut down Angel, and then it's like, no, actually, what, Category is going to be our main attack in the post. Figure that out now.
Well, and these are the times where you really prove yourself to be worthy to your franchise, and I think she was the 16th pick, as you said, the second pick overall for the Tides to make. She's had a solid rookie season, and did the wild cards plan for the difference maker between teams to be someone who's a rookie? Usually you don't think about that, but we have such a young team here, and a team of free agents that is really hard to get the tape on these guys. They come from all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, every time we hear the whistle go, we're just holding our breath. We know that was Wallstein, obviously, down in the post. She's up to 3 fouls herself, so fouls also becoming a factor in this game. I think Bangor is enjoying the advantage on that side in terms of how many free throws they've attempted.
Woo-wee.
And we'll see Wallstein actually getting subbed out for Robbins, as everyone but Doyle is back on the starting rotation for the Wild Cards. Angel got the second.
Angel Kamalo, yeah.
And yeah, okay, so I take it back. The free throw is actually technically a favored LVG by a very
Not by
small
much.
margin. No, not
Yeah.
by much. Baylor turning around, no one around, just takes the shot instead of trying to back it back out. And Bangor on the other end, 9-point now advantage, and the crowd has gone silent once again.
I think there's a couple seats have already started to open up. That's not good.
Bathroom break, clearly.
Okay.
They gotta.
Okay.
Hey, this is the time to go to the concession stand now. You'll be back in time for the thrilling
true.
conclusion.
And you know what? I think I just realized where they've gone to fix the shot clock.
Oh my God. No, they have not gone to fix the shot clock. They have gone to place bets.
Oh well, that's why they say having franchises in Vegas is questionable at best.
Yeah, and another foul. And you hear the fans are not happy. They are getting tired of hearing the whistle blown against their team here.
Was that Fletcher?
That was Fletcher, yes.
Yeah.
The River Otter got a little aggressive on the defensive side.
Yeah, you almost seemed to
double
get
dink.
angry back.
Well, double dink from Matthew, and that's unfortunate missing both. Maybe the pressure of being in the finals and up by a good margin, that gives a little bit of breathing room for Las Vegas as they get a basket to answer back quickly.
Oh, AMR is so good with the ball control, considering what some of the game has shown us with some of these younger players.
Well, and not only that, but you mentioned earlier he was 1 for 6 to start the game, but he's back up to 50% field goal percentage now. He has picked up his efficiency and taking a lot smarter shots after struggling in that first quarter.
Yeah, those are the things that work themselves out over the course of a game. Over the course of a series, however, those types of things could come back to haunt you. These guys are going to see each other at least 4 times. And hopefully, when we travel over to Maine, we see a different side of these teams that maybe doesn't allude itself to those types of early mistakes. But then new stories emerge. There's still a lot of ball handling trouble going on.
Well, is it ball handling trouble or really active pause in the defensive side? And now I'm going to go with that narrative. And, ooh, that was just a bad pass. Double teamed, and now Ash from the corner is good.
Oh.
And a double-digit lead, and Vegas calls timeout. And I think that's Ash's second 3 tonight now.
That's a statement shot, though. There was a lot of fast passes going on there, and an AMR assist. Those two work together really well. And now it's a double-digit lead, as he said. This is danger territory for the Wildcards. They need to start doing something quick here. They're changing out Doyle. Doyle comes out in place of Fletcher, which I think is a good substitution. But Baylor is out on the court here, at risk of getting, fouled out.
Down by 11, you don't have the luxury of playing safe, as Baylor able to get the second chance opportunity, laying it up and in.
So you heard it here first, folks. Ryan Eastman hot take: never play it safe, always do dangerous things.
Yep, 100%. Always as a remember, these are professionals on the court. Don't imitate professionals.
But then how do you become a professional? If
imitate at your own risk.
Imitate them.
Remember, imitation is a good form of flattery, but remember, you take all responsibility for your actions. And a double block. Ash, first foul of the game. Again, Vegas heading to the line for 2. Murphy has been perfect so far from the free throw line tonight.
Yeah, Tyreek Murphy has been solid so far in this game one.
Well, I mean, only 17 points total. I mean, that is not an insignificant margin, but hasn't necessarily taken the reins of the wild cards. And, someone needs to step up from Vegas right now, I feel like. We talked about Category being the one on Bangor doing it. Who is it on the wild cards is a drive to the basket is good. Field goal percentage is starting to slip away from the wild cards here.
Yeah, you don't want to be under 50%. The wild card's at 47, and they may not even get to the century mark, which would show just how defensive this game has been.
Yeah, and a screen getting called for an open look. No, great. AMR does not get swallowed up by that. And on Doyle, the very difficult three.
Okay, that's the kind of thing we need, though.
I mean,
they brought him in for that.
Well, I mean, Doyle is normal starter as well. I think they were letting him rest so that he could go all out here in the final 7 minutes of this game. But Ash, off the double screen, once again, not able to convert it, though. Baylor going to pull it down. Now Doyle again, fast break, stops, stutter steps, drives to the basket himself, can't convert it, gets his own miss. One-on-one, it's Ash.
Oh, man. Okay, so it's Doyle versus Van Zant right now. Quick pass to AMR.
Well, AMR just going to finger roll it in again. AMR is lighting it up now.
We've crossed the century mark, Mr. Eastman.
Oh, we had plenty of time for Bangor to cross the century mark. As you said, it's going to be a question of Vegas if they can actually do it. I believe they will. It's the question of can they get some defensive stops and double teaming.
Oh man, okay. Category getting really into the face, but nothing.
Well, there you go, Tyreek. 6 of 8 from the floor. Great shooting, but you can be super efficient. You have to step it up. And Baylor. That's one of those situations where he felt he had no chance of really doing anything, so didn't jump because he knew he'd get a foul. But again,
Ursine on Ursine,
Morrison dished down low in the post. Defense behind, no impact on the shot taken. Vegas not blinking here with every basket that Bangor hits. They're answering back immediately.
Yeah, they've tightened up their shooting. And Van Zant taking risk there.
Well, that's the same play we've seen drawn up multiple times. It's a double screen to get Ash open at the top of the arc, and there's no answer for it coming out from Vegas. And if I was Vegas, I'd call timeout and discuss with the defense, how are we going to switch next time we see that double screen get called?
Well, and they've even sent him out to the sides and made one of those are the more difficult threes.
Robbins, like a volleyball player, just tapping it into the net off that missed shot as the shot clock was winding down against Doyle.
Here's where the interesting stuff starts to happen, Ryan.
You mean the rush shots? Okay. The heat check coming out from Inari. She hasn't, been lighting up the scoreboard, but, turnaround jumper, plenty of time on the shot clock. Why not risk everything?
Morrison getting feisty there, having to get the rescue from Baylor.
Oh, and it's going to be Robbins tipping it. She's trying to collect it, instead send it out of bounds.
Big mistake there from the wild cards.
I mean, it's a battle for the board, and, when you've got two defenders fighting you for it, sometimes you just stick one paw up and hope that's enough. And there we go, the double screen. This time, defense is ready, but a screen on the way back. The cutback leaves open for a 15-footer. Ash has broken 20 points now.
And this is the time of the game where you would start to need to create some opportunities, right, to control the scoring. The wildcards don't have that flexibility as much as they would like with all the fouls they've accrued over the course of the game.
Quick pass down to Oakley, laying it up and in, and they're keeping it 11 points here.
Yeah, so I don't know what they do at this point. They even creating some distance hasn't worked out particularly well. Well, okay.
I mean, it works, but they need to. The offense is fine right now. They broke 100. They need to start getting some defensive stops. And a legal screen called on Oakley this time, proving the refs can in fact call it against Bangor.
Well, Lindsey Morrison getting that 3.
Well, it was a 2, not even a 3.
Oh, it wasn't. Okay.
It was very close, and that's one of those things you do all the work and you don't get in. Ooh, Robbins could not collect the ball, and it just went between her paws.
That's a Corber.
I didn't know if it was a Corber because she didn't even collect the ball. It was like it hit her forearms on the way up instead of her paws. But that's a missed chance there that might come back to haunt them. And ooh, the double clutch from Inari. Great move around the defense.
I didn't see how that worked out itself, but it did.
The Kitsune doing some kind of contortion around the defense to get the ball up in the air. And AMR wide open from the right sideline. That is a 3, though.
Oh, no.
And you saw the LVG coach trying to say that his claws were on the line, but no, the bird was in fact beyond the arc, able to hit that 3, and that's back to 10, and that silences the crowd.
Right, Beller is, I'm sorry, getting a little bit too close to shouting down the refs. She needs to find her cool space again.
Well, I mean, can you blame her? They were up by 7, I believe, at one point.
They managed to sit her down.
Yeah, you don't want to get in trouble for the next game. I hate to say it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Bangor has shocked us all with a Game 1 victory on the road. It's not over until it's over, but a 12-point deficit with 2 minutes to go is a mighty task that the Wildcards find themselves in. They're basically having to go all in on every possession, defense and offense, in order to stop and have a chance to really win this. And I don't see the Cards coming in a row like that, but that's one good way, Baylor. That's dangerous. They were trying to draw the charge call, but it just left him open.
Well, better late than never. That was probably one of his best plays to, use his body that we've seen in this game to get that open space. And now a defensive play there.
Again, they have to go all in. He is not. He doesn't care if he fouls out anymore. He has to go. And Inari, you cannot foul there and let the basket fall. I take everything back.
She was surprised as we were.
Okay, I'm back to calling the game. It's an 8-point game still. That was very. It's not over yet, but dang, Bangor is causing themselves to shoot themselves in the foot here in the last couple possessions.
Yeah, they need to just slow it down, let the clock run out, even though the clock has been thorn in our sides tonight.
Only one thorn, and it's been in your side, I feel like, in terms of the clock.
Well, then get a doctor to remove it, please.
Morrison from beyond the arc is good! We're back within 5.
This is doable.
Obviously, the Tides had the advantage, and they're double teaming. Oh no, that's the risk of the double team. Oh, they were trying to generate a turnover.
Shut down twice. Ash Van Zandt statement game. Calling it.
It is troublesome. That was an all-in gamble on the double team there to try and get a turnover, and that just left Ash wide open. If you're going to double team like that, you need your center to play zone to prevent an easy bucket like that. Make them at least shoot it from 10 to 15 out. Don't let them get a free basket like that. Now they have to take another 3 here, I feel like. Wide open. Morrison is good! 4-point game, inbound. Wow. They're going to have to foul quickly, and they do.
Lindsay has proven later in this game here that she has a vital role on the team. And she has gone from team to team as well, just like Doyle has. I suspect this is a warm-up game for her. But at the same time, you need those 3-point shots in challenging circumstances to land, and she's probably the best on the team, the roster, that they can rely on to do that.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem though. Down by 6, they need a miracle. They need a 3 miracle turnover and then another 3. Um,
Oh, and having to turn around there.
I mean, they are attacking the basket, trying to draw contact, but no good on the shot, and they're going to foul again immediately. I am once again, for the third time, calling it here, as I do not believe with 13 seconds left, even a 7-point game is overcomable, let alone an 8-point game. They need a 3 made on a foul to get a fourth chance, and even then they brought in the bench on a few of these spots. And King will shoot up a 3, no good. Robbins dishing it back out to King, not even beyond the arc, gonna give it to Fletcher. Last bucket of the game, not
Oh,
able to convert. Bangor takes game 123 to 115.
and Coach Laska, it's got to be a happy camper after that.
That is an amazing showing coming out from Bangor. To have been down as they were in the first quarter, to come back and take the lead the way they did, there's a lot of positives for them going into game 2 on the road. And if they managed to take the next game and take it home with a 2-0 advantage, this might be a sweep in the way that none of us expected.
Yeah, it's a frightening concept, but I do not doubt for a second that the Wildcards will take this loss to heart and make some changes in the next game to rebound, so to speak. And we saw a very competitive matchup up front. It was the Bangor bench and the various other factors that I think played into this.
Yeah, and we saw one of the key stats was that Bangor had more threes than the wild cards. And really, I felt like the wild cards didn't start pulling out the 3 until really late in the game. And, we saw some success with it. And perhaps if they pulled it out earlier, they could have been a little bit closer to in the final minute of the game. But I think the big story is that the foul trouble that Baylor found himself in, how much did that affect, the game plan? And I feel like that's going to be a lot of questions that they're going to be facing from the reporters in a little bit, questions about that and how they're going to go forward with game 2 and how they can avoid putting themselves in such a bad situation in terms of
Um,
fouls so early.
in category, we talked about Van Zant being the player of the game with 29 points, of course, or 24 points, excuse me. But categories, 3 blocks and 16 points in 18 minutes of gameplay. That's a huge effort.
Oh, no doubt. And again, the fact that LVG led by um, a good margin there at one point, and just Bangor in the fourth quarter, even so many points put up, able to come away with it. And like I said, biggest lead 9 for Vegas, and then 12 for Bangor. And looking at the stat line, like I said, the bench points 52 coming in from Bangor, and a lot of that came from category.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been an impressive effort from both sides in this game one. Of course, we saw Banger do stuff that the Wildcards just didn't have an answer for at certain points of the game and struggled to defend. And ultimately, um, those 14 team fouls that we saw didn't have uh, any answer for the various different offensive plays that Banger was able to fish out. So, tip my theoretical hat off to them. We'll see how things change in the upcoming games. This is going to be a really interesting finals.
Yeah, now all the pressure comes in against LVG game number 2. They cannot afford to drop game number 2. If they do, oh, it's going to be a very, very, very tough series. Matt, any final thoughts before we head off for the night?
um, I'm invested, and I can't wait to see uh, game 2 here in a couple of days. I'm really excited to experience what will be certainly a history-making finals, and we'll see for the first time whether or not Vegas has the ability to bounce back from this, or if we're going to see one of those rare instances where a team comes out of the woodwork to sweep. I'm hoping for, well, either result. So, looking forward to it, really. And I had a great time tonight.
Yes, thank you for joining me. It's been an amazing game one here of the FBA Finals. We have at least three more to go. We'll have to see how many more can this series stretch out after a road victory for Bangor puts Vegas on the back foot. I've been Ryan Eastman. That was Matt Lewis. Y'all have been wonderful, and we will see you next time.